Hey, great to connect. Right on time there, especially by LA standards.
Oh my God, I know. I've always tried to have my reputation be known as the most punctual musician of all time, especially for LA standards. So, hey.
Exactly. I've had the pleasure of listening to your latest release. It's
Mhm.
quite the undertaking. Was that you playing everything but horns?
Well, not on the latest release, no. Actually, even though I'd done that before with some of the singles that I'd put out, I mean, after creating the band and playing so many shows for such a long time, we realized that we were doing something special that was more than just sort of a one-man band sort of experience. So with Ensemble, the inspiration was, let's see if we can capture that magic from the live performance and bring it into the studio and see if
Mhm.
we could recreate it the best that we could. So no, I play guitar, a little bit of bass, vocals, timpani. There's this one timpani, dun dun dun. The tubular bells are me, and maybe some other little bits here and there. But no, I mean it's mainly a celebration of the band as a unit.
Was guitar your first instrument?
I don't know. I mean, it was the first instrument I decided to start, practicing and taking seriously. But before that, I mean, anytime a drum or conga ended up in my world, it's just, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. And, I sort of understood the joys of rhythm from a time way before I actually tried to learn notes,
Yeah.
you know, before
Yeah.
pitch came into the equation.
Well, I think
Is that
everyone's
a
gonna.
Pac-Man machine or Miss Pac-Man?
That is Miss Pac-Man. It's one of
Uh,
those cabinets where it has a lot of the games on there. I guess you're a gamer as well.
I mean, I love the classic stuff. I mean, I don't know. There's something so nice about the simplicity of what was happening in gaming, way back in the day compared to now. You're in the middle of war. It feels real. They're all bleeding. Yeah.
Well, we'll bring it back to you here. People are going to unfortunately make the Zappa comparison, but what was your gateway into music? Were you initially a hair metal guy?
Well, I mean, first of all, I'd like to say that I invite anyone to make the Zappa comparison because it's no secret. I'm influenced by Frank Zappa, as
Yeah.
I wish more people were in the world. Because even here in America, if you were to go to conservatory, his music isn't really taken as seriously as all the old white guys with curly white hair and the John Cages and the Philip Glasses of the world.
Right.
Because in to being such a great composer, he also did Bobby Brown Goes Down and all the stuff where, he was making commentary on things and using the words that he wanted to use.
Right.
Anyway, but that's a different rant. So no, I invite anyone to say that because I love Frank Zappa. And part of what I did with this record was try to manifest my love of Frank Zappa by getting one of his ex-band members to play
Right.
on it, you know? So, 100% that. And what was the other question?
Well, what was your gateway into music? See, I'll admit it.
Oh, my gateway
My,
into music.
in my case, my first releases around the same time were Dr. Feelgood by Motley Crue and Please
Oh
Hammer
my
Don't
God.
Hurt Him by MC Hammer. And I'm
It,
not ashamed of that at all. And a
well, it's
lot of
funny
times,
that you say that actually, because our engineer, Justin, whenever we do a sound check, we tune the PA to Dr. Feelgood and Kickstart My Heart. Dead serious. That's how we always started out. As soon as we have levels and we do everything, he puts on Dr. Feelgood and he starts tweaking things and making sure that our mix sounds as full as those, Bob Rock studio mixes that are just really powerful,
yeah, I'd say Bob Rock comes out in one of every 4 interviews I do. It's always people
Ah,
talking about the Black Album or Dr. Feelgood or somebody actually worked with him and you go, what was that like?
yeah.
But in your case, what were the albums that first made you go, this is not just fun, but this is a career path for me potentially?
Hmm. I mean, I definitely was raised on the Beatles. I mean, it's no secret that, so many of us heard those first notes on Sgt. Pepper, Revolver, Abbey Road and thought, oh my God, this is really something amazing. Lots of Beatles, lots of Red Hot Chili Peppers, actually. And that's something that me and my bass player Caleb actually have in common is both of us love the, discography of the Chili Peppers from the beginning up until where they are now. And when you think about the time in which we grew up, one of the only really cool guitar moments on pop radio was the solo in Danny California. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of, it's buzzed out. There's a tape flange, referencing Jimi Hendrix right before it. And then he goes in. And for me, being 10 years old, to actually hear a guitar shredding on a popular radio station in between all the rap songs and the, pop songs and the Britney Spearses of the world, I thought that was pretty cool. And so, I'd say that was one. Beatles was one. I don't know. I mean, I've always just been obsessed with music, and I've really tried to learn as much about it as I possibly can, which means I'll go through a bluegrass phase or an Indian folk music phase where I'll try to learn tabla or something like that. I mean, it's as much as I can possibly listen to. If it inspires me, I mean, it's just something to add to the vocabulary.
Right. One of the terms that people use a little too cliche is singer-songwriter, and you're obviously not that. But when I think of you and your music, I don't say he's a songwriter. I say he's a composer.
Oh, man.
Is that something that consciously goes your way, that you're a composer? And I have to use the air quotes on purpose.
Of course. So many terms these days. But I mean, it's interesting that you say that, because I look at the record Ensemble as one complete piece of music. Just as every time we plan for a show, I look at it as one complete 45-minute piece of music, or however long we're playing. Because when we do it, we don't stop. It's just, you start the show, you play through it. There's no, stop, clapping. How are you doing? Hello, Los Angeles. No, we don't do that stuff. We just play the show because it's one body of work. And I mean, I guess that's composing. I mean, if you wanted to quote Frank Zappa, composition is, deciding that certain sounds belong in a certain place, putting it on paper, and then getting the band to do it. And I guess we're just doing that, but in a rock band context.
Interesting way of putting it. Does your Zappa fandom also go down to the Dweezil Zappa album that he did with Moon Unit on vocals on a track or two?
Oh my God. You know what songs I always loved that they did was the first two songs, Crunchy Water and My Mother is a Space Cadet.
Which I think Eddie Van Halen produced that one, I think?
Yes! He produced it, and I think he even played some of the guitar on it. I mean, there's something so cool about, just hearing the Zappa kids shredding. And, I think, what's the name of that producer? Greg Kurstin or something was on there too?
The Bird and the Bee, yeah. Greg Kurstin.
Yeah. No, it's pretty cool that, Dweezil could make 80s rock pop records when he was 12. Really talented family.
Of course. And then bringing it back to you here, you're not just a solo artist. You've played with Jaden Smith. I assume that gig is still going on, even though the world's on hold and all that?
Yeah, well, I mean, we did some work together for his last record, Erys, and I thought that was really cool because I came in there and I thought that we were all just going to hang out. And then what's cool about Jaden is whatever he's interested in at the moment, it's up everywhere in the studio. So he was going through a big punk music phase. So he's got Clash and Bad Brains records just taped everywhere. And then, on the window that separates the control room from the live room, he's got pictures of, musicians or figures that he's thinking about, or, little paragraphs of certain people that he's been reading just to inspire. So there's just inspiration everywhere. And then even on this particular record, I think it's a concept album, and it has something to do with this, pink substance. I couldn't tell you.
You don't know, I don't know.
But these little lumps of this pink dust all over the place too. But anyway, so yeah, we got to go in there and make some punk songs. But I mean, when he performs live, it's more of an experience where he's got sort of a visual thing happening. So that was just for this record in the studio.
But you wound up with some co-writes on the record, which were those your first big kind of cuts that you had? To use some industry jargon right there?
I mean, it's interesting because I've been doing music professionally since I was 11 years old. And because I could do things when I was younger and I was never in the musicians union or anything like that, I got away with a lot of ghostwriting, shall we call it, for things that I'll probably never be credited for because of all the non-disclosures and the you don't get credit, you don't get whatever for this, which is fine because it was still really great work, and I got the learning experience, and I got to create with all these people that I'll never get to talk about.
Yeah.
But, and so there's a little bit of, just random things that will pop up occasionally where I'll think, oh my God, that little xylophone, I did that. But, anyway, in addition to that, this is probably the first, real major label thing that I've been credited for as myself, yes.
Yeah, one of the things that I usually ask people that are session-y, session-ish, I think you fall into the category of sessionish when you're kind of a virtuoso that can just as easily do their own stuff as play any style on anybody's recordings. I usually go, hey, so what are some of the things that you played on that you weren't credited? And, I am respecting your NDAs and all that. Like,
I appreciate that.
To Timothy B.
But I'll tell you, it's a wide range. It's not just music. It's, stuff that ended up in commercials and sorts of stuff. Yeah.
Well,
and again, that's, strict union rules. So, can't get people in trouble.
AFM and all that and AFTRA and whatnot. And,
yes.
Timothy B. Schmidt, rather, from the Eagles was like, yeah, I sang David Crosby's vocals on a Crosby, Stills, Nash record. And you went, what?
No, it's crazy. That stuff used to happen all the time. Or instances where, what's that song? Why Do Fools Fall in Love by Frankie Lyman and the Teenagers? I think that the bass player was just, some sort of utilities worker that was in the hallway, and someone asked him, hey, do you play bass? And then he just ended up on the record.
There's that. There's rumors that Billy Joel played on Leader of the Pack. He played piano on it, but he won't deny it. That stuff goes on. And your bio mentions that because of you getting an early start and being around LA and all that, that you did a lot of odd jobs for people.
Yes.
Is that the layman's terms of doing these sessions, or are you actually?
Yes, that's just sessions. I mean, that's essentially just trying to, being in LA is such an amazing opportunity because, again, we're talking pre-COVID.
Yeah,
so pre-COVID LA was amazing because you've got to consider the fact that there are at least 50,000 musical things happening every night.
Yeah.
And so if you want to go out there and make music, you got to pick one and just see what's happening. And if it doesn't work, go to the next one. And if it doesn't work, go to the next one. So It's sort of the thing where, I would try to make music with everybody because, that's what I wanted to do. And I figured that out when I was young. So it's been sort of a nonstop journey of trial and error from there.
Well, it's refreshing to hear that you're a music guy, because how many people do you know these days who are a musician, but they're just launching a fashion thing as soon as they get their first taste of success?
No.
Side thing that you're looking to do.
What's a very strange trend now is people using modeling careers and influencing careers to get what they want out of the art world. So they'll realize, okay, doing the music thing is difficult. Doing the acting thing is difficult. I'm going to be really pretty and take pictures of myself. Ooh, I just did a campaign with so-and-so. And then with that influence, then it's, okay, now I get to make my music. So it's been really interesting to track sort of the path of how it's less of playing the bar gigs, then you get an opening slot, then you play the halls, then the theaters, you get a record deal. Now just take pictures of yourself looking cute until you get you get to walk a couple runways. Then once you get, signed to Wilhelmina or one of these agencies, then you can make some calls. All right, call up Puff Daddy. Let's see if I can get signed to Bad Boy for my first record, because I'm an Instagram influencer.
So that's not your path and all that. Was it almost?
I've never been a model. My percussionist has been a model, and sometimes we look at his modeling shots from his 16-year-old self, and it's very funny.
Well, everyone, as I said before, is kind of in a holding pattern because they don't know when live music is coming back. But aside from...
we canceled everything for this year. Everything is... we had an album release show that had to be canceled. And even if you look at the pictures of some of these, socially distanced shows that are popping up, it looks depressing.
Yeah. So do you know what you're going to do in the near future on any level?
Oh, I will. I think this is going to be the year for more of my studio releases to come out. We're probably going to see some things that maybe I didn't plan on releasing this year coming out, just because I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and share as much music as I feel I should with the world right now. I've got a couple of songs on a totally unrelated project. It's a quarantine-themed musical that I've been working on. So you're going to hear the theme song from that pretty soon. That's pretty much me playing every instrument except the tambourine, but you know. There's some production stuff that I'm doing. My record company, Flesh Fury, we just released a new record from this really, really talented singer and composer, Simone Histoire. And I've been working with her on some stuff, and she's going to be putting out new music soon. I mean, it's mostly just going to be new studio releases because, quite frankly, I mean, not all members of the band are ready to break quarantine yet. So until that point, I mean, there's really nothing that we can do, which is a shame because, you know, we love playing live so much.
Right. Well, I look forward to seeing where the discography goes from here because it seems like you're prolific above all the practice you're doing. Most people practice a lot, but are not writing a lot. You seem to be doing both.
And now it's even worse. Most people are practicing a lot and then selfie videoing it and then putting it up on Instagram. And it's, this is the music. This is the music.
Well, I guess your new EP is going to be called Influencer. And you have
Influencer. New EP. Am I an influencer yet?
You might have to be. But, you know, by the time that this is going, like, how many of the people are still going to consider themselves career musicians? Not a lot.
Well,
of them, so.
you know, it's actually quite strange because I think we're going to see a shift of a lot of session work going to Nashville and Atlanta because New York is in a very close to apocalyptic state right now. I mean, I think that they estimate that so many people have COVID, and LA is going to be very different for a long time, but Atlanta's open, and already a lot of the film and television industry have pushed shoots to Atlanta. It's a lot cheaper to do it there. A lot of musicians here actually lost jobs to Nashville musicians because of this bill that was passed to sort of fight the gig economy, to, you know, stand up for workers that were driving Ubers and doing Grubhubs and stuff. But it actually made it harder to be a freelance musician. That was recently changed thanks to the efforts of a lot of people. But it's going to be a weird shift in culture in LA for the next 3 years, I'd say.
Hurry up and wait, as they say. So
hurry up and wait.
Respectful of your time, Zach. In closing, any last words for the kids?
Let's see. Last words for the kids. Believe in yourself. Listen to everything that you can possibly listen to. There's no such thing as genre. All music can influence you some way. Be kind to everyone in your life. Drink plenty of water.
And listen to the new record.
And listen to the new record, yes.
Well, thanks again for doing this. I'll get this live within the week and post it and share you and all that. But really, keep up the great work you're doing. You're doing something different, and there needs to be more people like yourself out there.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much for the kind words and for inviting me on here. I had a great time.
You got it, Zach. Have a great rest of the day in the meantime.
Thanks. You too. Take care.
You too.